Every wonder weapon in Zombies history on high rounds. Let's go.
It's a ray gun! Oh, joy!
The ray gun, or when upgraded to the Porter's X2 ray gun, is one of the most iconic weapons in Zombies history. Being in every single Zombies game, it's just really hard not to love this. It really excelled and peaked with Black Ops 1, and then ever since then, less and less people have just been using this. Back in the early days, high rounds weren't really as easy as they were today, so the ray gun was much more sought out and much more valuable. But nowadays, with so many other weapons and gadgets, the ray gun has just kind of been pushed to the side. And that, in my opinion, is a damn shame, because the ray gun with PhD Flopper makes for a legendary combination. But after kissing the ray gun's ass a little bit, we can all acknowledge that it's not that good on high rounds. If your end goal is high rounds, the ray gun is not going to be the gun that takes you there. It's going to be the secondary one, it's going to be the side one. It's going to be the gun that you use when you're out of your main wonder weapons ammo and you're trying to get a max ammo. And it's really only going to last you until the 50s, maybe 60s, and then after that, you're just wasting your time if you're trying to use it, unless you're using it on a boss zombie or something. But on round 50, it's going to take about half the magazine just to kill one zombie. And really the only reason to use it, like I said previously, would be to try to get a max ammo if you're out of ammo in the main wonder weapon. So even though it's not a very powerful wonder weapon, you have to have PhD Flopper, and it's essentially just a glorified explosive weapon with more ammo, I still love it and think it's one of the most iconic weapons in Zombies history.
What the hell is a Wonder Waffle?
The Wonder Waffle DG2, or when upgraded to the Wonder Waff DG3, was the first main wonder weapon we ever saw in Zombies, with it first being introduced in Shinonuma and it making another return in Der Riese, be it a very unpopular return because you know the whole cancel jugs effect thing, and it coming back in Black Ops 1 and for Black Ops 3 and also in Call of Duty Vanguard. And throughout all of these years, the Wonder Waff has relatively stayed the same. It's going to do an infinite amount of damage, with the only drawback being that it can only kill 10 zombies per shot. And if you didn't know, 24 zombies spawn in per round. But still, it does an infinite amount of damage, so roughly speaking, you could get about 360 kills if you use this thing to its fullest. And for a high round gun, that's not too bad, especially considering back in the day when it was first introduced, the Wonder Waffle was very, very good. Nowadays, I would say it doesn't really compete with a lot of the other very overpowered stuff that we've gotten, but still, it's an infinite damage wonder weapon. If you're going for high rounds, it's going to be very reliable. Unless, you know, you're playing on Der Riese, then, you know, just don't even, you know, like, use it if you value jug or living or health or any of those things.
What a handsome weapon! Oh, that's my reflection.
The Thunder Gun, or when upgraded to the Zeus Cannon, first made its appearance on
Kino der Toten Black Ops 1.
with it making a follow-up on Ascension and making a return in Black Ops 3 with Revelations and its remastered Chronicles maps, and also making a random appearance for Black Ops 4 Tag der Toten. Now, the Thunder Gun is one of my favorite wonder weapons of all time. It is like the benchmark of what a wonder weapon should be. It's going to get you about 672 kills because with one shot, you can completely erase an entire train of 24 zombies, and it does infinite amount of damage, so it's always going to work. So it's not going to get you like an insane number of kills, but it definitely feels strong. It feels like a wonder weapon should feel. It feels like once you have this, there's like no doubt in your mind that something bad is going to happen until, like, you know, you run out of ammo, but you know, we don't talk about that. The only real complaint that I have with the Thunder Gun, well, there's two. One, the glitch where sometimes it doesn't shoot. That's very annoying. And two, in Black Ops 1, the Thunder Gun doesn't create drops. So if you kill a bunch of zombies, you're not going to get like a max ammo, an insta-kill, or anything like that with a Thunder Gun. So you have to use other means to try to get a max ammo, and that can be very, very annoying. And they did fix that with Black Ops 3, but still, it makes the Black Ops 1 Thunder Gun sometimes very annoying, especially if you're going to high rounds. But still, saying all that, it's an amazing wonder weapon, very, very strong, and it's going to get the job done.
Why don't you just chill out?
The Winter's Howl, or when upgraded to the Winter's Fury, is one of the coolest concepts for a wonder weapon. I love everything about it. It shoots out this ice beam, it can freeze and slow down zombies, it looks badass, but unfortunately, it's really not that good. The Winter's Howl was introduced on Black Ops 1.5 and also was on the Black Ops 1 remaster of Verrucht, and it was on Black Ops 4's Classified. And on high rounds, this thing is pretty comparable to a ray gun, except for it doesn't have the ammo that the ray gun has. Sure, it can slow down zombies eventually, but if you're looking to get some kills, this thing just doesn't have the damage nor the ammo to really be able to do anything on high rounds. It really kind of starts slowing down late 20s to 30s, and then once you get up to 50, it's going to be taking you almost 2 entire magazines just to freeze one horde of zombies. Now, the Black Ops 4 version is a little bit better, mainly just because it has more ammo, and the way the Black Ops 4 zombies' health is, it makes it a little bit better on high rounds, but it's still nothing incredible. You're still going to be wasting a lot of shots just to kill a couple zombies. So really, it's a strong early round weapon, but it falls off very, very quick, which is just unfortunate because, again, I love everything about this weapon, but its damage.
Is this thing even a weapon?
The VR11, or when upgraded to the VR11 Lazarus, is an enigma of a wonder weapon. It is, at the same time, one of the best wonder weapons and also one of the worst. If you're playing solo and you want to go for high rounds, this thing is pretty much useless. The only effect that you can really use on solo is to turn a zombie into a human and make George go away if you shoot him in water. There's also another effect where if you shoot a zombie 3 times, he'll explode, but that is very, very weak, and the blast radius is not that large, so honestly, you're just wasting ammo. So solo-wise, this thing is pretty useless, but where it shines is multiplayer. If you are playing with other people and you have this thing upgraded, and you shoot your teammate, he will get insta-kill and he will be ignored by zombies. Considering you have 24 shots, you have 24 insta-kills. You could use that ability on a teammate, he could protect you and just kill everything with a simple wall weapon and then probably get a max ammo, and then just keep doing that over and over and over again. So that is why this is one of the greatest wonder weapons and also yet one of the worst. It all depends on how you're playing it. There's a reason why the Call of the Dead solo world record is much lower than the multiplayer one. I'm honestly surprised we never saw this thing return, like, storyline wise or really anything like that. Like, it was just in Call of the Dead, and then, like, they kind of just dropped it and then never brought it up ever again.
This is a piece of fucking machinery right here.
The Scavenger, or when upgraded to the Hyena Infradead, is my personal favorite wonder weapon. I think it has one of the coolest concepts of all time. An explosive bolt-action sniper rifle is just badass. And when you upgrade it, you get the infrared scope, which no one ever uses, but still it's pretty cool. And I was really hoping for Black Ops 4 with Togder Toten that they would have brought this back and made it really, really good. And my disappointment when they did not was just immense. But this thing is going to carry you well up into the 40s, and then once you start to get into those rounds, that's when you're going to start to notice that you're taking more and more shots. And then on round 50, it's kind of on its last leg. It only has a couple more rounds to go until you're just wasting so much ammo on these things that it's not even worth it. And again, this is just one of the reasons that makes Call of the Dead high rounds so difficult solo, is because you really don't have a wonder weapon to do it. You have the Wonder Waff, but you only get that from killing George, and you can only get one every other round. And you have this doing a lot of damage, but it's not infinite, so eventually it's just going to stop working. So maybe one day this will come back, and we will see it infinitely better. And I just hope and pray every night that the next Zombies game, they will finally do that. And I just keep getting disappointed, so maybe one day.
Where do batteries go?
Treyarch has this really cool habit of introducing amazing and unique wonder weapons and then never bringing them up ever again. And there's no better example than the 3179 JGB 215, or when upgraded to the Fractalizer, aka the Shrink Ray, aka the Baby Maker. And statistically speaking, this is the best wonder weapon in Black Ops 1. It's going to get you the most kills, because it kind of does an infinite amount of damage, but also 0 in a weird way. But in total, you should be able to get 1,152 zombie kills. What the Baby Maker does is it shrinks down the zombies, so it doesn't actually kill them, and allows them to be a one-hit or a one-punt, and you can just run through them and immediately kill them. And once the Shrink Ray has been upgraded to the Fractalizer, it will shrink down the zombies to be a one-hit kill for 15 seconds compared to 5 seconds when it's unupgraded. Now, the only thing that I don't like about this weapon is that the zombies can still hit you and can still do damage to you and still kill you. Even though the baby zombies, when they are shrunk, they do not that much damage. It's going to take 15 hits from a baby zombie without Jug to kill you. But sometimes they can grow up real fast right behind you and immediately down you. I have been killed by that one too many times. And that problem got especially worse with Black Ops 3 because for some reason in Black Ops 3, you can't run through the zombies as good and as smooth as you could in Black Ops 1. So the Black Ops 3 version is just infinitely deadlier. But still, saying all that, this is an amazing high round weapon, and if used properly is very, very deadly and will technically be able to continue not killing zombies well into the hundreds.
Did Daddy make this? Or did Teddy?
Rounding out Black Ops 1, we have the Wave Gun, or when upgraded to the Max Wave Gun, and also, at the same time, the Zap Gun Dual Wield, or when upgraded to the Porter's X2 Zap Gun Dual Wield. That is a mouthful. All of these weapons were on Black Ops 1 Moon and the Black Ops 3 Remastered of Moon, and none of these weapons have the ability to create drops on Black Ops 1 and or on Black Ops 3. And when you're going to high rounds, that makes a huge difference. And like I said, these all do an infinite amount of damage. So technically in total with the Zap Guns and the Wave Gun, you could get about 820 kills if you use this thing as efficiently as possible. Which when we're talking about wonder weapons, even in general, it's still a lot of kills. Now in Black Ops 1, I really never used the Zap Guns that much. Like I said, you don't really get a max ammo. And with the Zap Guns, you can only kill about 148 zombies. So I always just stuck to the Wave Gun and then tried to create a drop through other means and then tried to hack it and get a max ammo. But no matter how you use the Wave Gun, it's still very powerful and one of the better wonder weapons we have seen. And again, Treyarch introduces cool things and I get excited about it because I have the mind of a child, and then they never introduce it again. Why you do this, Treyarch? Why?
This ain't a gun. It's a food processor.
The Thrusterdyne Aeronautics Model 23, aka the Jet Gun, is somehow the worst weapon in all of Zombies history, and yet also the best. On paper, this thing should be the greatest wonder weapon in Zombies history. It has an infinite amount of ammo, and it does infinite amount of damage. So you could use this on any round and kill zombies and never run out of ammo. But in actuality, it's one of the worst. This thing can only be used for like 6 seconds before it ends up breaking, and it takes 1 minute and 40 seconds for a full cooldown. And that is just absolutely ridiculous. And don't even get me started on barely being able to move while you're using it, and if it breaks, you have to go rebuild the damn thing. I mean, you can use a couple different glitches to make this thing work a lot better, but the way it was actually meant to be used is awful. It will still get you kills on high rounds, but it's just such a pain in the ass to use. There are a lot of mods out there, like the one you're seeing right now, that make this thing actually usable, and my god, if they would have given us this, granted, we would have been overpowered as hell, it still would have been infinitely better than the Jet Gun that we got. So I don't know what Treyarch was thinking when they gave us this. One of the worst wonder weapons of all time, but yet also one of the best.
I just know I'm gonna throw my back out carrying this.
The Sliquifier is one of the best wonder weapons if your end goal is only round 100, because it is a one-shot up until that point. So it does not do an infinite amount of damage, it actually has a set damage point, which just so happens to coincide with round 100. Now, pre-patched Sliquifier was a menace to society, but after the patch, they definitely toned it down, but you're still going to be able to get a large number of kills with this thing. If you do certain strategies where you have zombies constantly pouring in and you use one shot of a Sliquifier, the Sliquifier should be able to get you, I would say on average, about 1,200 kills. You could get that number up and you could get that number down, all depending on how exactly you use this, what strategy you're doing, but it will definitely get you a large number of kills. Just make sure you don't use it near any ledges, because if you shoot this gun, it's going to leave some questionable liquids on the ground that are very slippery, and I have fallen off the map using this thing, and I have been slid right into a horde of zombies before. So this weapon can be a little dangerous to use, but if used properly, it's going to just carry you to high rounds at an incredible rate. There are so many easy strategies on Die Rise that just allow you to fly through the rounds with this gun. And the Sliquifier kind of introduced that era of wonder weapons where you really don't need to train anymore. It's mainly just go sit in a corner and let the weapon do its work.
Wonder why Weasel called this the Blundergat?
Next up, let's talk about the Blundergat trio. You got the Blundergat, or when upgraded to the Sweeper. You got the Acigat, or when upgraded to the Vitriolic Withering. And you also have the Magmagat, or when upgraded to the Magnus Operandi. And for Black Ops 2 Mob of the Dead, which only had the Blundergat and Acigat, I definitely think the Sweeper is the better of the two. It's going to be a one-shot up until round 40, while the Acigat, you know, when fully upgraded, is going to start to make crawlers in the early 20s. And really, the only use that I could find for the Vitriolic Withering is that Monkey Bomb effect that it uses. You can use that in a combination with a trap to actually kill a bunch of zombies, but if we're just looking at what the weapon can do itself, on high rounds I would definitely prefer the Sweeper than I would the Vitriolic Withering. You're going to get way more kills with that than you would with this. Now, neither of these do infinite amount of damage, but they are very powerful. Now, in Black Ops 4, we also, carried over the same guns, and they behave relatively the same. Black Ops 4 health is a little bit different, so the weapons are going to seem a little bit better just because, you know, Black Ops 4 zombies eventually stop getting stronger. But the Magmagat is very, very interesting because on round 50, it's still going to be able to kill a lot of zombies, and it's going to have a monkey bomb effect. And if Brutus walks over it, it's going to instantly kill him. So in my opinion, the Magmagat is definitely the best out of all of them. And there is one cool Magmagat effect that I don't think a lot of people know about. If you shoot a zombie with the Magmagat, after a couple seconds, he's going to explode and start taking out all the nearby zombies around him. And that is a really cool effect, but I definitely prefer like shooting it on the ground and then using the monkey bomb effect over that one, but that's just my opinion. So the Black Ops 4 Magmagat is definitely the best out of all of them, and then I would say the regular Blundergat and then the Asagat.
Infinite ammo? That's like one of those things that are just too good to be true.
With Buried, we got introduced to the Paralyzer, and the Paralyzer is very, very interesting because up until round 70, it is legitimately the greatest wonder weapon to have ever existed. Because once upgraded, the Petrifier will slow down zombies and then eventually kill them, and you can fire this thing for about roughly 10 seconds before you do have to let it cool down. So there's no ammo or anything, it's just a cooldown. And this, in combination with Vulture makes for a very, very deadly combination, and honestly, one of the most overpowered in zombies. I guess it's a good thing that Treyarch eventually did patch this, so that way after round 70, it will no longer kill. But up until round 70, all you gotta do is have Vulture, a nice little comfy corner, upgrade the Paralyzer to the Petrifier, and you're golden. And one cool thing that I think everybody loves about the Paralyzer is you can point it at the ground and then jump, and you can skip a lot of sections of the map. So if you don't feel like running through the maze and trying to figure your way around that, you can just aim at the ground and fly over the damn thing. Or if you haven't opened up certain sections of the map, or if you want to get into certain areas, point it at the ground, jump, shoot, and you'll be there. So the Paralyzer is definitely a very interesting gun, and up until round 70 with the Vulture combination, definitely the most overpowered.
A ray gun? For me? Is it my birthday or something?
Also introduced with Buried, we got the Raygun Mark II, or when upgraded to the Porter's Mark II Raygun. And after it came out on Buried, later they actually went back and put it on all the previous Black Ops 2 maps, and it was brought back for Zombie Chronicles and Black Ops 3, and it was also in Black Ops 4 Zombies, and also got a couple elemental upgrades, but we'll talk about that later. The Porter's Mark II Raygun is a fantastic wonder weapon. The thing that makes it so powerful is its headshot damage. Its regular damage to like the body is just a little bit better than the ray gun, but its headshot damage is insane. This thing's still going to be a one-shot up until like the late 50s, and it's still going to be a one burst to kill up until the 70s. As long as you are aiming for the head, I can't stress that enough. Its headshot multiplier is that good. Its body and like, you know, legs and torso and stuff like that, you know, not that good, but its headshot multiplier, that's where the money is. But the only thing that I don't like about the Mark II is that it kind of made the regular ray gun like obsolete. Like, why would you get the regular ray gun when you have an infinitely better one waiting for you in the box? And you can't have both at the same time, so you literally have to pick which one do you want. Do you want the OG ray gun that you probably need PhD flopper with, or do you want this, which you don't need flopper and it does a lot more damage and it's going to last you a lot longer? I think the answer is pretty obvious. But still, the Raygun Mark II is a fantastic side wonder weapon. It's definitely not a main wonder weapon, but if you run out of ammo in the main, this thing is definitely going to carry you until you can get a max ammo.
I know this staff holds great power.
The Origin staves are very, very interesting, especially on Black Ops 2, because they are bugged to all hell. Especially if your end goal is high rounds, there are a lot of problems with these staves. The Fire Staff will eventually crash your game. Once you get to a high enough round, if you're using the Fire Staff, your Black Ops 2 game will just kill itself, so no one ever really used that for high rounds. The Lightning Staff was just never good to begin with. It even starts to struggle to get kills on round 50, and really the only redeeming part about it is that it just carries a lot of ammo. The best way to use the Lightning Staff, in my opinion, is to not do a charge shot and just spam it as much as you can. But the Wind and Ice Staff are by far the best, but even on Black Ops 2, they still have their fair share of bugs. These two staves will sometimes stop killing on round 112. Now, this might just be a Black Ops 2 Origin thing, but after round 112, these things will sometimes not be a one charge shot, and sometimes you'll have to either do another one or switch to like a different weapon to finish the zombies off. Just a couple bugs here and there. And sometimes the Wind Staff on high rounds will create invisible zombies. So honestly, your best bet is just to stick with the ice one. But if you're not trying to go for insanely high rounds, the ice, fire, and wind are all pretty decent. The ice is definitely the best, and the fire and wind are pretty close to each other. But you do have to be careful with that fire, because I think like around the 70s is when you are at serious risk of crashing your game. And they did fix this with Black Ops 3. The stabs in Black Ops 3 are all pretty much the exact same, except for the fire is now god-awful. Even on round 50, the fire staff used to be good in Black Ops 2, and now it's just a shell of its former self. The ice and wind staffs both remain really, really powerful, and the lightning staff is still going to be the lightning staff. Yay! The origin staves for high rounds are very, very interesting because they're not all as good as each other. Like, there's definite better ones than others. So it's a good thing a lot of people go to high rounds solo, because if you were trying to go with your friends, it would be kind of annoying to like get the worst one and not get the best one. And also, lastly, about the stabs, building them is a pain in the ass. And that's all I have to say about that.
Where did this even come from? I mean, how is this possible? What the fuck is this even doing?
The Apothicon Servant introduced a new era of zombies where it really didn't take much to get to high rounds. All you have to do is get the wonder weapon, find a nice corner, get some good gobble gum, and you'll be set. And I think the Apothicon Servant is like a prime example of that. Depending on what strategy you're doing, and if you have this thing upgraded like on Revelations, you could probably get 800 to 1,000 kills with just the ammo that it comes with. And that's not even including gobblegums like Alchemical Antithesis or the max ammo ones or any of the numerous other ones. So I would have to say the Apothicon Servant is definitely one of the GOATs. It's one of the best wonder weapons we've ever had. Even without gobblegums, it's still amazing. And the one cool thing that I never really noticed about the Apothicon Servant is it's going to have a different name depending on who's picking it up in Shadows of Evil. And because all these names are pretty much just random words put together, I never really noticed that until now. And on Revelations, you can actually upgrade the Apothicon Servant, and really nothing changes since it already does an infinite amount of damage. All that really changes is you get 5 extra shots. So in my opinion, I mean, as long as you have the right gobblegum, I don't even really think you need to upgrade it, because if you have like Alchemical Antithesis, you really don't even need those 5 extra shots. So I do really like the Apothicon Servant. I like it as a gun to get to high rounds, but like its concept as a whole, as like a giant hentai alien gun, that I'm not really that big of a fan of.
I feel the power of Dragon's anger within this bowl.
The Wrath of the Ancients on Der Eisendrache was a much better take on the 4-player elemental wonder weapons than the Origin Staves by far. They're much easier to upgrade, and they're a lot more consistent with how good they are. I would say the worst is by far the Wolf Bow, and that's not really saying a lot. Like, it's not absolutely terrible, just compared to the other ones, I feel like it's the weakest. The only real way to use this to its maximum is to get all the zombies behind you hurled together as close as possible, and then fire a charge shot directly into that, and majority of the time you'll kill all of them, but I do find myself keeping a couple stragglers alive every now and then, so you will get 24 kills, but not consistently. Then the next one, I would have to give it to the Void, aka Demon Gate Bow. This one will get you some kills, but it just takes a while. It's not going to be instant, so if you're about to get like cornered or something, there is a chance that those skulls might not get to the zombies in time, and you might down yourself. So it is possible to get 24 zombies, but it's also possible to get less, but in my opinion, it's a lot more consistent than the Wolf Bow. The next one I would have to say would be the Rune Prison Bow, the Lava Bow, Fire Bow, whatever you have to say. This one is really straightforward. You fire a charge shot into the middle of a horde, and they're all pretty much gonna die. The only complaint that I have with this is that it kind of blocks your vision with all those zombies like getting lit up. It kind of makes it hard to see. So if there is a couple zombies that aren't going to die, they kind of blend in until they get up close and personal to you. But saying that, it can still kill an entire train of 24, so it's good in my book. The last one, in my opinion, is the best one because you can really just camp with this thing in a corner and you're going to be fine. The best way to use the Storm Bow is to not train all the zombies up. If you train up all the zombies behind you in like a big train of 24, and then you fire the Storm Bow into that, it's going to have a hard time killing half of that number. The way this one works is you really want the zombies to be constantly flowing in one at a time and not all together. Because it's much easier to camp in a corner with this bow than it is to train them all up and try to take them out that way. So all the other bows, you kind of like want to get all the zombies hoarded up together and then use it. But for this one, you want to find yourself a nice juicy corner, sit in that corner, and just go to town with it. And I kind of did a couple numbers, and I would say on average with all these bows, you're going to get about 880 kills. You could probably get that number up, you could probably get that number down, but I would say that's a rough average for how many kills you're going to get with these bows if you use them to their fullest.
Looks complicated. You still just point and pull the trigger, right?
The KT-4, or when upgraded to the Masamune, is a very, very annoying weapon to get. You have to build the regular gun, and then once you get the KT-4, you have to build the upgraded version. You can't just stick it in the Pack-a-Punch machine, and I hate when Treyarch does that because I don't want to have to pull up Mr. Raffle Waffles every time I want to play the game. I'm not going to remember how to do all this. But I mean, I guess it is worth it because you do get a very powerful wonder weapon. This is, again, one of those ones where you can just sit in a corner and let the weapon do its work. A charged shot from this is going to create a nice little substance on the ground, and if the zombies walk over it, they're going to die. And this weapon is very simple. Just get a bunch of zombies or find a nice little corner and just keep firing a charged shot at the ground every so often. The zombies will run over it, they will die, and you'll be good. And like I said earlier, with Gobblegum, high rounds just become so easy, especially with weapons like this, that if you can't get to high rounds, what are you doing? And I think with this weapon, depending on what strategy you're using and where you're sitting at, you could probably get about 300 to 400 kills on average, somewhere in that ballpark. Really, the only thing that this gun suffers from is a lack of ammo, considering you need to charge it up to actually get a bunch of kills, and it costs about 2 or 3 per charge, and the max ammo this thing carries is only 42. You really don't have that many shots to get off, and that's why its kill number is kind of low. It's just because it doesn't really hold that much ammo. But I mean, hey, with Gobblegum, ammo is just a number.
Weapon is throwback to old days. Times were simple. So were we.
The GKZ-45 Mark III, or when upgraded to the Maelstrom of Eris. I'm not gonna lie, I was never really a huge fan of this gun. I just don't like the whole aesthetics of it and what it does. I was just never a huge fan. And it's definitely on the weaker side of all the wonder weapons. The GKZ-45, once fully upgraded, is a one-shot until round 10. The Mark III, which is the right gun, is a one-shot up until the mid-30s. And once you combine them with the Black Hole, that's only a one-shot until the early 40s. And this is a very good early round camping weapon, but once you get to the 40s and 50s, that's when you might want to swap your strategy up and maybe go train or go do something else, because you're going to start to require 2 to 3 to 4 more shots just to kill a bunch of zombies. I mean, for the first 40 rounds, the weapon itself is very, very good, whether it's the combined Black Hole or just the Ray Gun Mark III itself. It's still very powerful, but it does not do an infinite amount of damage, so eventually it will taper off and stop working. And I mean, on Gorod Krovi, that's not really too bad. There's so many other ways to kill zombies on that map that you really don't need this weapon if you want to go to high rounds.
Guns like this are gonna change things forever.
Black Ops 4 Zombies kind of introduced a new way to play zombies. We were mainly focusing on using equipment and specialist weapons, and not so much traps and wonder weapons like the Kraken. The Kraken is another example of having multiple different upgrade variants. You have the ice, the fire, the electric, and the poison one. And the regular Kraken can actually just be upgraded using the regular old Pack-a-Punch machine. But if you want any of the cool element ones, you're gonna have to do a couple extra things. Now, the ice one kind of acts like a miniature ice staff. It's going to have a little blizzard effect, but it's going to have a much smaller radius, and any zombies that go into that blizzard are going to die. And if you're looking at just straight kills, I would say this one is probably the best one for that. The next one that I think a lot of people generally use, especially if they're going to high rounds, is going to be the electric one. I don't know why this one is often referred to as the electric one, but it just is. And this one is kind of just like a shove back to the zombies. It really just shoves the zombies back and really clears a path, and I think that's why a lot of people like it, because you can use this in so many different scenarios and really gain back your specialist weapon really, really quick. And you can kill zombies with this, but I think the best part about this is really just knocking back all of the zombies. The next two, the Breath of the Leviathan and the Poison one, I definitely think are the weaker versions, especially when you're comparing them to the other two or like even specialist weapons. It really just seems to me like what would even be the point of making these ones when you have so many better options. The Poison one just takes a lot of shots to actually start killing zombies, and it seems like the Fire one operates the same exact way. And whenever I did high rounds on Voyage, I never used the Kraken. I always just found myself relying on a specialist weapon and other weapons to get to that specialist weapon. They really just made wonder weapons obsolete in this game.
This may feel like a toy in my hand, but it does not play around.
With 9, we got introduced to the Death of Orion, or an upgrade to the Circuit's Kiss. And it looks like a scorpion gun, and it does electric damage. You would think this would be like a poison gun or something, but no, it's electric. Woogie, woogie, woogie. And this one again operates very similar to one of the staves, the lightning staff. A regular shot is just going to zap a little zombie. It's not really going to do much on higher rounds. But if you get a charged shot, it's kind of going to start electrifying one zombie and then spread out to multiple zombies. And this is a very good weapon for higher and higher rounds. I just don't like the aesthetic of it. It's a scorpion gun. It's a giant scorpion that shoots electricity. Maybe I'm just not intelligent, that's probably what it is, but I don't understand this gun. It is still really good on high rounds, and it carries a decent amount of ammo, and it's going to be able to charge your specialist weapon up very, very fast, but it's still a Scorpion that shoots electricity. I don't get it.
Well, yippee-ki-yay.
Now, one of the coolest wonder weapons we got introduced in Black Ops 4 happens to be on one of the worst maps, Dead of the Night. We have the Alistair's Folly, or when fully upgraded to the Alistair's Annihilator. This is a badass revolver with a scope on it that has multiple different unique abilities. What more do you want? So once you upgrade it to the Chaos Theory, you're going to get two abilities. One that will create a pool of acid that'll kill all the zombies that go over it, and also a Whirlwind ability, which is kind of like the Windstaff's Tornado ability. Very, very similar to that. And then once you get it fully upgraded to the Alistair's Annihilator, you get two more abilities. One that creates a green portal and vaporizes any zombies that come near it, and another one that summons a fireball that literally annihilates any zombies that come near the fireball. And all of these abilities are very, very good, especially since the zombies have a health cap and they eventually stop getting stronger. So if this thing works in the 50s, it's definitely going to work even higher. So I'm a huge fan of this wonder weapon. I just wish it was on a much better map than the one it's on, because I'm a sucker for revolvers and anything like that. I think they're cool. I think this is a very cool concept for a weapon. It's just on a dog shit map.
Such a coarse, uncouth weapon. In other words, perfect.
Also, with Dead of the Night, we got introduced to the Savage Impaler. And this is literally just like a revamp of the NX Shadow Claws from Black Ops 3, but hey, I'm not complaining. Now, before this thing can appear in the mystery box, you have to do a quest to get it, and that's one of the reasons I just don't like Black Ops 4. Why do I have to watch Mr. Waffles every time I want to get a cool gun? But saying that, this still is a very, very powerful weapon. It's going to be a one-shot on high rounds as long as you're going for the head, and the amount of ammo that this thing carries is over 300, so it's really good. It's literally a one-shot, one-kill weapon that's also very, very powerful against the vampires. The only complaint is it's a little hard to ADS, but if you can get over that, and if you can get all these zombies like coming at you in a straight line, you will be able to use this thing for quite a long time and be able to get a lot of kills with it. But still, this is Black Ops 4, so people really don't use weapons and wonder weapons that much for high rounds. It's all about the specialist weapons, so this one kind of gets swept under the rug a little bit.
That's just my size.
Next up with Ancient Evil, we got introduced to the hand wonder weapons. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the whole aesthetic thing and how they're like weapons on your hand, I don't like that. I think that's dumb. But I will admit that the way these operate and the abilities that they have are pretty freaking sweet. Let's start off with the Hand of Gaia, one of those two. This literally makes you a rock bender from Avatar. Like, you have these cool rock powers and it can kill a lot of zombies. So just imagine like you're Toph from Avatar playing on this map the entire time you're using this, and that's how badass it is. And whether you're charging it up or just using its regular ability, it's still insanely strong and just, it's so cool. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like this map, but this wonder weapon is really, really cool. Next is the Hand of Hemera, and this one is also quite as badass. It's literally like you're controlling an orbital satellite that just beams down a death ray. It gives me strong Fallout New Vegas Helios 1 vibes, and I'm a huge fan of that. Now, its regular non-charge shot isn't as good, and this one I would definitely recommend you to do a charge shot. But I mean, come on, you gotta admit, it's badass. You're controlling an orbital death laser from the sky that just annihilates any zombies that walk next to it. That's freaking sweet. The Hand of Oranos, I think that's how you pronounce it, probably not. It's still a very powerful wonder weapon, but I just don't think it's that cool as the other ones. This one's kind of just like a force push, like you're just throwing all the zombies away from me real quick. It's kind of like a lesser Thunder Gun in a way. It doesn't have all the cool flair and dramatics like the other ones have. It's kind of just very simple and plain. So if you just want something that'll just kill zombies with like not as much fanfare, then this one might be for you. The last one is the Hand of Charon. I'm dumb. Forgive me. This one is literally dragging the zombies to hell, and I'm not even making that up, because the name Charon was actually the ferryman of Hades that like brought people to hell. So when you use this one, you were literally like dragging the zombies to hell. And again, huge fanfare. I like the dramatics. I think it's badass. I think the whole, you know, being on your hand and like stuff is kind of dumb, but what the weapons do is awesome. Now, all of these hands are very, very powerful, and honestly, I think they could rival a lot of specialist weapons. Like with the Kraken, you really don't even need that, but with these are, in my opinion, a lot more important than a lot of other wonder weapons in Black Ops 4. Especially if your end goal is high rounds.
Tell me true, is there a lot of sibling rivalry between you and the other ray guns?
Heading over to Alpha Omega, we got introduced to the new Ray Gun Mark II and its multiple different variants. You got the V variant, you got the X variant, you got the Y, and the Z variant. And each one has a different completely upgrade path. Let's start off with probably the best one, the V2 Ray Gun. This one has infinite ammo and just shoots out like a stream of electricity that just takes out all the zombies. It's very, very reminiscent of like the Paralyzer, and this one is very, very easy to camp with, very similar to the Paralyzer. And this one is by far the best. Whenever I went to high rounds on Alpha Omega, this was the one I wanted because I can just go camp on a ledge and just use a combination of this, specialist weapons, and multiple different other equipment. And I could get to high rounds relatively quick with this one. And again, it has no ammo, so you never have to worry about that like you do the other ones. The X2 ray gun is a dual-wield variant of the ray guns, and in my opinion, this is the most fun version, but definitely not the best. It's really cool just to have 2 burst ray gun Mark IIs and just spam them as you're frolicking around the map. But if you actually want to like get to high rounds or anything like that, they're decent, like they're pretty good, but it's not something that I would go out of my way to get, especially when you have one that has infinite ammo and is infinitely better. I mean, maybe if you're playing with a group of 4 and you're trying to get to high rounds, this one wouldn't be the worst one to get, but it's not going to be the one that I want. The Y2 ray gun is very, very interesting because this one is a explosive ray gun Mark II, and it won't hurt the player, which is very, very good, but you need to charge the shot. That's the only thing that I hate about it. You have to charge the shot in order for it to actually work, and it doesn't really carry that much ammo. It only carries 48 shots, and considering you have to charge it, you're going to run through ammo so fast, and the explosion isn't really even that powerful to make up for the fact that it doesn't have enough ammo because it's a charged weapon. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you have something like this and then have an infinite ammo ray gun that's way better? It just doesn't make any sense. Maybe if they would have buffed the explosion and made it do a lot more damage, this one would be way, way better, but it just doesn't have enough ammo. The explosion radius and overall effectiveness isn't that good, so they really made it clear that they have a favorite. Especially when we look at the last one, the Z2 ray gun, which is pretty much just a ray gun shotgun. I would say on early rounds, this one is probably not as good as the electric one, but it's up there. But once you get to higher and higher rounds, this thing just becomes a lot weaker, and in my opinion, not even worth it. Because you're going to need a couple shots to actually start taking out zombies. Like maybe if you're running through hallways and you need to get something done, this one might be worth it, but if you just have like a horde of them behind you and you want to clear them out, this one, it just ain't it, chief. So out of all the new Mark II ray guns, the electric one is definitely by far the best. Like, it's so much better than the other ones, it's not even funny.
Is this what they call a wonder weapon? I'm certainly wondering what it is.
Now, I didn't know that you could make a thunder gun worse, but they somehow did with the Tundra gun. I don't know how you managed to do, how did you de-evolve the thunder gun into this? Treyarch somehow managed to do it. The Tundra gun is just a thunder gun that they left in the freezer for too long and made it infinitely worse because once upgraded, it upgrades to the Boreas Blizzard, one of those two. And it literally just is a worse version of the thunder gun. It's going to take 1 to 2 shots to kill on these high rounds, and it doesn't really have the same strength, the radius, the distance, diameter, any other math words that the thunder gun did. So I never really understood why they put this on here. I guess it kind of fits with the whole aesthetic of Tag der Toten. But they could have at least, like, made it better. It honestly just pains me to, like, look at this and see what it does. I don't like it. Now, I know I am dogging on the Tundra gun a lot, and a little bit of it is just me gagging and goofing. It still is a really good wonder weapon, especially compared to a lot of others that we've seen on this list. I just think, in my opinion, it's not as good as the original thunder gun, and I don't see the point of de-evolving something that was good into something that's not as good. This will still kill a bunch of zombies, and if you aim for the feet, it's going to be a lot better. And especially if you combine it with PhD Flopper, it's going to be really, really good. So I don't mean to trash on it too much, it's just I prefer the original Thunder Gun. And especially since the Thunder Gun is on this map, I would rather have that one.
Come with me, Sparky. We're gonna have fun.
Also with Tag der Toten, we got introduced to the Wunderwaffe DG Sniper Rifle. This is a unique take on the OG beloved Wunderwaffe. It's going to behave a lot differently than the original Wunderwaffe. So the original Wunderwaffe, you could like shoot the ground, shoot kind of near a zombie, and that lightning is going to chain up to 10 zombies. This one, you have to be a lot more accurate. I don't really find myself hip firing with this one as much as I did the original. And with the new Wunderwaffe, with the sniper one, you have to go for headshots if you want to make this thing as strong as possible. So there is a little bit of a learning curve to actually using this thing. At least with the Tundra gun, it's kind of acts the same way. You just got to point and shoot and you're good. With this one, you actually have to ADS and go for headshots, which doesn't really make too much sense on a Wunderwaffe in my opinion, but hey, what do I know? I think the only real redeeming quality about this gun is it carries a lot of ammo, and if you're going for headshots, you can kill a large number of zombies per shot, so you can get a lot of kills. So in my opinion, this is good for a numbers game. Like if you're trying to stack up a lot of kills over time, this is really good. But if you need like a, oh shit, I'm about to die, something save me, this one might not be the weapon for you. So I guess in a way, the Tundra Gun and the Wunderwaffe are both good in this map because they're kind of complete opposites on how they're being used, and they kind of complement each other a little bit. In my opinion, I don't think they're as good as the originals, and I think they're kind of like shitty revamps that Treyarch just threw in because they didn't really have much time to do anything. They kind of just gave up, in my opinion. But still saying that, it's a good weapon, but with Black Ops 4, you're just going to be using your specialist all day, so what does it even matter? Now with Cold War, high rounds really just kind of became irrelevant. They're very easy to get to, literally anybody can do it. And you have just multiple weapons, kill streaks, and things you can buy from the workbenches that will literally carry you to high rounds. Majority of the time, those things are going to be better than the wonder weapons. And considering a lot of the times you have to do a bunch of Easter egg steps to get the wonder weapons, you might as well just stick to the kill streaks and workbenches instead of actually going through all the hassle of watching Mr. Waffles. But still saying that, these wonder weapons are still really, really good. On D Machine, we got introduced to the Decompressive Isotopic Estrangement Machine, otherwise known as the DIE Machine. This one had multiple different upgrade variants. You have the DEAD Thunder Blast, which will shoot out a giant explosive electricity ball and kill any zombies that it happens to hit. And it's not like a very huge explosion, so you're not going to be taking out like literally everything on the map, but any zombies that happen to get hit by it will definitely die, and then you can suck up more zombies to get more ammo. Not like ammo was ever a problem in Cold War, but it is a pretty solid wonder weapon. You also have the DIE Cryo Emitter, or when upgraded to the DEAD Glaciator. This one kind of works very similar to the Paralyzer or the Electric Ray Gun Mark II from Alpha Omega. It's going to shoot out a constant stream of ice and freeze any zombies and kill them. It's not incredibly overpowered to where you can kind of just like sit in one spot and not have to worry about zombies hitting you or anything, but it's still a very good wonder weapon that just shoots out a constant stream of ice and kills all the zombies. We also have the DIE Nova 5, or when upgraded to the DEAD Virulence. This one will shoot out a giant gas ball of Nova 5, and any zombies that walk through the gas ball will take damage and then eventually die. The only thing I don't like about this is if like you have a giant train behind you, you're gonna have to keep like training them through that gas. Now if you're camping in a certain spot where like all the zombies are coming at you from like one direction, it's going to be a lot more powerful. But if you are in like a giant open area, that's where this one really doesn't thrive as much as it would in like a enclosed space. Also, we have the DIE Electric Bolt, or when upgraded to the DEAD Joltsters. This one is very similar to the Cryo Emitter. It's going to shoot out a constant stream of electricity and kill any zombies that it comes into contact with. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's literally just the Ray Gun Mark II from Alpha Omega. And the last one we have is the DIE Thermophasic, or when upgraded to the DEAD Immolator. This one will shoot out a giant ball of plasma and explode when it hits any zombies. It's very similar to the original one, the Thunder Blast, and works very, very similar to that one. In my opinion, I want to go through all the hassle to upgrade it to the multiple different variants. I think the original one will probably do you just fine. But if you want to upgrade to the variants, be my guest. I would probably guess that the Electric Bolt one and the Cryo one would come in handy more often than the other two. Up next on Firebase Z, we got introduced to the Ray K84, which when upgraded becomes the Discordian Disruptor, which also has an underbarrel launcher that becomes the Discordian Harmonizer. And the Ray K has two different abilities. One is normal like assault rifle ability, where you just treat it as a normal gun, and it's very, very powerful and really, really good for training. And there's so many different strategies with like Ring of Fire and other things like that that you can use that just make this thing incredibly overpowered. Not that everything in this game isn't already overpowered. But you also have the other ability. When you use the underbarrel launcher, it'll launch out this ball that's very, very similar to the Ray Gun Mark III from Gorod Krovi, and if you light that ball up, it's going to explode and kill any nearby zombies around you. So this ability is really, really good for camping. But overall, no matter which ability you're using, this is still a great weapon, and it's definitely going to be one of the main focuses on this map. Especially when you combine it with Ring of Fire, there's just like endless possibilities for strategies and things that you can do to get to high rounds. And the Ray K is always going to be good, and it's always going to work no matter what round you're on. Man, they really made high rounds easy in this game. Heading over to Mauer der Toten, we got introduced to the Conversion Ready Binary Repeater Standard, What is up with these long and complicated names? Or an upgrade to the CR, BRS, or the Cerberus. And this is going to have multiple different variants. You have the original one, an upgrade to the CR, BR, TNR duality, and this one just behaves like a normal pistol. It's going to get stronger and more ammo, but you're also going to have this little floating ball that's going to be your best buddy. He's so adorable. He has no personality, no voices or anything, but look at that little guy go. He's dedicating his life to the mission. And that little ball of goodness is going to follow you around and shoot at all the zombies that you're shooting at. And I have no idea why, but that is so freaking cool in my opinion. And also, I really like the way this gun looks. I'm usually not a huge fan of sci-fi stuff, but this gun gets a pass. I think it looks badass. Another variant that we have is the CR BRS Blazer, or an upgrade to the CR BR TNR Enlightenment. Man, these names, I feel like they just get longer and longer. What are these, manga titles? But you know Treyarch loves their weapons that just shoot out a constant stream of something, whether it be the Paralyzer, the Mark IIs, or the DIE machine. And that's exactly what this weapon is. It's going to shoot out a constant stream of energy and kill any zombies that come around to it. And of course, it's a wonder weapon on Cold War, so of course it's going to be really freaking good. Another one that we have is the CR-BRS Diffuser, or an upgrade to the CR-BR-TNR Quintessence. And this one, in my opinion, is definitely the worst one. Not saying that it's bad, but it's definitely lacking compared to the other ones. It's kind of like a shotgun, except for going in random directions, it's all horizontal. So if you go for headshots, it's going to be really good. And I mean, it's still really good even if you're not going for headshots, but compared to the other wonder weapons, I think this one is definitely lacking. And the last one we have is the CR-BRS Swarm, or an upgrade to the CR-BR-TNR Seeker. And in my opinion, this one is literally just a War Machine wonder weapon. Listen to how this thing sounds. You can't tell me that that doesn't sound like a War Machine. And it's going to behave kind of similar to a War Machine, except for this one, you can lock onto an enemy and it's going to shoot out the explosives. They're going to do a little spiral and find their way to the enemy and then explode and then also kill zombies around them. And this one is definitely one of the better ones and is really, really good. And it's also totally a War Machine, and I will fight anybody that says otherwise. Now, the last wonder weapon we got for Cold War that was introduced on Forsaken is going to be the Chrysalix, and this has two different modes. You got the Chrysalix Savager and the Chrysalix Storm. The Savager is going to be an axe wonder weapon, and you can swing it around to kill a bunch of zombies, and you can also throw a spinning blade that's also going to kill a bunch of other zombies. And if we switch to the Storm, it's basically going to be a pew-pew machine, and you can use it to shoot a bunch of zombies, and has a chance to turn a zombie into a crystal bomb. And one cool thing about this wonder weapon is that if you get kills with the axe, it's going to drop ammo for the Storm. And if you get kills with the Storm, it's going to drop ammo for the axe. So even though it's one wonder weapon, it takes like different types of ammo. So these wonder weapons really like complement each other. So you have to use one wonder weapon to get ammo for the other one. And I definitely think this is one of the better wonder weapons in Cold War, especially if you have like the right stuff upgraded. Like you have your melee stuff upgraded so you can get the regen health stuff. You have the right perks and everything. Literally, you can kind of make any weapon in Cold War into a wonder weapon as long as you have the right upgrades. Now, I wasn't sure if these all counted as wonder weapons because they're not like main wonder weapons. They're more equipment and specialist weapons, so that's why I'm putting them at the end of the video. The Hell's Retriever, or when upgraded to the Hell's Redeemer in Black Ops 2, also made a return in Blood of the Dead for Black Ops 4. But the reason I really like the Hell's Retriever isn't because once you upgrade it, it does an infinite amount of damage. Well, if you charge it at least once. And not because it has an infinite amount of ammo. I like it because it's really balanced. It's not incredibly overpowered, but it's not incredibly shit. Like, it does an infinite amount of damage and has infinite ammo, but you're not going to be killing zombies extremely fast. It's very, very slow. So, like, you're not going to be using this thing to camp to around 100. You're really going to use this thing to try to get you a max ammo and kill some zombies, like if you're running low on your Blundergat or something like that. Or if there's a drop far away, you just toss this and it brings it to you. So it's a really solid weapon. It's not incredibly overpowered and it's not incredibly shit. And in my opinion, it's one of the more balanced wonder weapons that we've seen in zombies. And speaking of balance, another weapon that I think is actually really balanced well is the Ragnarok DG4s. A lot of the specialist weapons in Black Ops 3, I think, a little overpowered, but still balanced really well. The Ragnarok DG4s were a buildable in the Reisendrache and available from the mystery box in Revelations, and it has two abilities. You got the jumping up and down ability, where you jump up, you slam the things down, and any zombies around you are going to die. You can also plant these things on the ground and camp around them, and any zombies that come near them will get electrocuted and die. Now, the thing about the specialist weapons that is really cool is that you can only use them for a certain amount of time, and then you have to get kills to recharge them. And that would be a lot better, I feel like, on a map that didn't have as many things that were overpowered like in Black Ops 3. Like in Black Ops 3, you can use the starting weapon with a double upgraded ability to get this weapon back to being charged. So I feel like it would have been a little bit more balanced maybe in like Black Ops 1 or 2 or something like that. But still, even Black Ops 3, I do like the Ragnaroks. They are a very useful tool for high rounds and the Easter egg. We also have the Keeper Sword on Shadows of Evil, and once this is fully upgraded, you get like this cool ability to where another sword will come out and start fighting for you, which is badass. I don't know why, but I really like the idea of like other things spawning in for like a little bit and helping us out, whether it's the dragon, that little orb on Cold War, or this other Keeper Sword. It's still really cool. And even just the regular melee ability with this sword is still extremely powerful. You do have to be a little bit careful when you're using it, especially against Margwas, but just against regular zombies, this thing is extremely good. And another specialist weapon that I actually really like is the Skull of Nansapui. I really like how you get this wonder weapon. All you have to do is kind of just progress through the map. Once you open up all the map, all you have to do is take the skulls to their locations, get kills around them, and that's something you can do just as you're progressing. And the Skull of Nansapui is going to have two abilities. One, to where any zombie that you look at is just going to immediately raise up and die. And you also have a Mesmerize ability, which definitely has its own uses. But my favorite one is the one where you just run around the map and you kill all the zombies that you look at. It's very, very useful, and you can kill a lot of zombies with this. And again, it's a specialist weapon, so eventually it's going to run out and you're going to have to get kills to recharge it. Also in Zetsubou no Shima, I don't really know if this counts, but the spider bait where you turn into a spider, I don't really know if this counts as a wonder weapon, so I'm just going to briefly talk about it. You turn into a spider, and it's not really that... It's cool. I mean, I'm not going to lie. This thing is cool as all hell. But I would never do it if my end goal was, like, high rounds or anything. It's just a cool thing to do in the game to have some fun. Don't ever do it if, like, you want to get, like, really, really far. It's just not worth it. And in Gorod Krovi, we got introduced to the Gauntlet of Siegfried. And there's a couple different abilities with this, and that little dragon is absolutely adorable. So the little dragon can breathe fire and kill a bunch of zombies that way. It can also use a little bite attack that's not really that strong, but it's adorable as all hell. And you can also have the dragon take air and act like a sentry around you while you just run and punch things that are in your way. And in my opinion, this is definitely the one to use, but I like to give the dragon its own little, you know, time in the limelight. So I try to use the flamethrower as much as possible because, again, the dragon's just so adorable. I want a little pet dragon now that breathes fire that helps me kill zombies. That's how badass is that? That's adorable. But I like this specialist weapon because you have a bunch of different abilities and it's not just one ability. There's multiple different ways you can use this, which I'm a huge fan of. Now, I didn't really know what to do with Vanguard because they didn't really introduce any like new wonder weapons, and the gameplay is just like so different from the other games that I just decided to not do anything about it because it's just so weird and awkward. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys could, please hit that like button and subscribe and hit the bell notification. These videos take a long time to make, and you don't know the pain and suffering I had to go through to make this. And hopefully I didn't forget or miss anything, and if I did, please let me know down there below in the comments. I'm only human, I do make mistakes, and that's where I'm going to let you guys go. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.